Hi, this is George. Today we're going to do a doodle series of Doodle What You See. And today is going to be about a branch of a tree. So the supplies I'm using today is my Hannah Mueller um, sketch pad, which I use um, generally all the time, except when I use my Escher sketch pad and maybe some uh, watercolor paper. So another thing I'm going to do is a stencil to help get the frame. My hands are a little shaky, so that's why I use the stencil. I'm going to also use the Thule Art fine liners. They're really consistent and easy to work with, and they have like duplicate points because sometimes if you doodle a lot, like I do, I may or may not go through more of one size than the other. Another one I'm going to use is the Uniball Signal 0.28 for really fine line details. I'm also going to use a number 2 pencil. I used to use sorry about that. I live in an active neighborhood that's kind of loud sometimes, especially when the fire engines go to do their job, and it's kind of loud. Another thing I'm going to do is use a kneaded eraser. I like those because they're gentle on the paper. So such. First, I'm going to um, do a border. I like using borders because that way it's giving me a, a boundary. But when I do my therapy videos, I don't use anything. So first I'm doing a branch going out here, and this is one of those ideas that you can do when you are at your desk at lunch, or when you have some free time. I wouldn't necessarily do it during class because you want to be paying attention. So, do we want leaves? Yeah, we want leaves. Because although it's turning cold now, the leaves still are on the trees, and eventually they will not be, but right now they are. And remember, what you stretch out doesn't have to be what you end up doing. And just have fun. Alright, so the next part is I'm going to ink in, and I'm going to use a number 10. There you go. And this is sped up, so take your time doing it. I like the width of the point here, but and around the leaf, but I think I'm going to use a smaller point within like this area. I'll show you in a minute. A good thing about switching sizes of your points on inking in is that it adds a little bit more depth and contrast to your doodle. A little concentration is good, but again, have fun. Nothing is right or wrong. It's your doodle. So just have fun. Later on, I'm going to introduce a couple of things that I like to do for background texture, as well as in the like this here is the focal point of the doodle. Let's see, a little bit more, because I added that because the branch here is thicker than the offshoot branches. So always taper your branches. But I was saying I'm going to introduce some textures. So that is using the 10, and I'm going to use a 6 for the inside, like this. Okay, you can see the difference between this and this. It's a subtle difference, but I like it. So I like to break what I refer as the fourth wall. Fourth wall is the border, and again, when you do it, it adds a little bit more depth. And you can do it a little bit. It doesn't have to be everything. And then what I do is, once I'm satisfied with the overall design or doodle, and remember, it's always important to reposition your doodle so that you are make it in as comfortable as possible and as easy as possible. And when I do straight edges like this, I like to have the pen and come towards me versus up. Okay. So let's get rid of the pencil marks. And depending upon how thick your lines are, although the pens dry quickly, if you have a lot of ink, you want to make sure it's dry before you do the eraser. Now you could call this done, but the more detail you get, the better, I think. So I'm going to use my Yuma ball signal, and I love these pencils or pens because the lines are really fine. So I'm going to add some detail to the leaves and make them pop a bit more. You can forego this if you want. I'm just giving you some ideas. So see how the line is thinner than even the number 3 pen? Small increments of change is great for visual interest. Another thing I had mentioned earlier is I want to introduce some textures. Now, normally I would round out the edges, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently today. So, this is called hatching, okay? Basically, it's a series of small lines or larger lines depending upon what you're doing, but here I'm just giving the branches a little bit more texture. And for example, here I'm going across the length or width of the branch. So cross hatching is when you go at an angle. You can do it straight like this, or if you, for example, grow across, and you can have it as wide or as thin as you want. And since these two leaves are kind of together, I did the hatching together. So these again are together. And you can do it like that. Small hatching on the leaf, behind the branch, and in front of the branch. So what you're doing is a bit like adding a shadow without adding any color. And you want to basically follow the same light source. In this case, it's coming from over here. So this here is in shadow a little bit. And another thing you can do, which I call broken lines, is basically you see how the hatch is here? You can create a little bit of gap between a series of lines. And you can add as much detail as you want, or not at all. Again, this is yours, so you can do it however you want. Okay, so going on back to the cross hatching, these are hatched, okay? And then cross hatching is, again, going, okay, again, because it's like a hashtag. I think it's fun because you're exploring and seeing where you can add shadow. So these are hashtags or cross hatching, and likewise you can use the same principle here to add more texture. Don't worry, I will be doing cross hatching and various other kinds of texture in future videos. So, how you like it? The last one I'm going to do is what I call a modified weave. Okay, so it's basically a couple of lines in one direction and then another couple of lines in another direction. and another, and you can vary the widths, but depending on how close something is to you, or how far. So, example, if you're drawing, doing doodle, and something is, well, okay, say this is a mountain. This is another mountain, and this is another mountain. Okay? When you do the weave, the closer is to you, or the closer in the foreground, which is forward. This is a middle ground, and this is the background. So if you want to add shadow or texture to something is relatively close to you, you can do something like this. And you can do the weave pattern all the way across, but for brevity, to make this quicker, you can have the middle ground less space between and size of the lines to vary between this and this. And for something that is part of the background, you can again have the lines smaller still, and the space between the lines even more or less, and then space it out like that. So sorry, this video is going to be a lot longer than my normal. So anyway, so the weave pattern, hatching, cross hatching, line gaps, and then variation around. So how do you like? I hope you enjoyed the video today and got inspired to explore textures in your doodles. Until the next time, I hope you have a great day.